Hello and welcome to episode 1453 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, September 19th. I could have lied and said the 20th since that's when we're putting it out. But I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined today by Justin Mason and Joe Orrico. Gentlemen, what's up?
Good to be back. It's been a little bit of a break, but good to be back with you guys.
Justin, it's been forever, dude. We need to catch up.
I know. I haven't spoken to you in like, what's
hours.
it been? Yeah,
multiple hours.
It's been 7 hours.
That's rough for you, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, to go with 7 hours without talking to me.
I'm very needy. I'm
right,
like,
absolutely. And I'm there to fulfill the need.
Validation. Yeah,
So I'll tell you how smart you are here if you got some good starting pitcher takes, because we are going to finish up our review of the Meatball draft, the 11 rounds of a real draft that will count, that took place now about a month ago at this point. So obviously things have changed even since here. You know, we're going to talk pitching today, and I'll just tell you off rip, you know, the last reliever to go was Ryan Helsley, and I don't know if we're going to see that again. Randy Rodriguez was at the peak of his powers at that time too, so it was a different landscape. Let's start with starting pitching though, and Justin, just give me a snap takeaway about starting pitching after this year. There's a week left, but not much is going to change on your general philosophy. 2025 in a nutshell for you, fantasy starting pitching.
I mean, I think it is a lot of what I said it was coming in the year, which is I'm trying to avoid as much risk as possible being invited onto my teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
via injury and performance.
Yeah, via injury and performance. I think I did an okay job of the injury part. Maybe the performance part is the part I need to kind of readjust. As we talked about,
that's hard year to year.
Brandon Pfaadt earlier this morning. So like, and I also think that maybe I need to be better about the dart throws, right? Like the high upside dart throws for a lot of the year paid off. Now a lot of them fell off, right?
Sure.
You know, Chris Bubich, you know, got hurt.
But happens, and he was great.
And you got your money's worth, right? So I mean, I think it is the year of the dart throw and the year of let's remember injuries are not something you want to draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just the way it is. You definitely don't want to be taking injuries. And that goes with some of the high-profile ones. Like, obviously, the Strider thing didn't really work out. And really, I can't think of any of them that you drafted that really worked out of the injured guys, you know. George Kirby was the one I was most confident in. I took him. I feel fine with it. But it was longer than we expected. Like, and that's kind of the point. Joe, what about you? Just kind of a general takeaway on how pitching treated you this year and you know, what you might do about it next year.
By and large, it was not a terrible year to draft the early names, which is something that can be kind of a big wild card in years past. But if you took that first or second round starting pitcher, you took Skeen, Skubal, Wheeler, Crochet, those all worked out very well for you. Gilbert, not quite as much, but it's not a terrible season. Same thing with Sale, mostly just due to loss of volume. But those were the guys that were going in the first 2 to 3 rounds. And normally it's a little bit more of a minefield. This year it was kind of successful. Now after that, you have Corbin Burns, you have Snell, Reagan, Cease, and it does fall off a little bit there. But then it picks back up. I feel like a lot of the earlier names from this past season, out of the top 20, 25 names or so, there were a lot of hits in there. DeGrom, Yamamoto, Framber up until recently. You know, if Schollenbach didn't get hurt, he was on his way to being a top 10 pitcher.
It was great, yeah.
There are a lot of success stories in that top group. Now, heading into next year, it feels like a different landscape for me. There's a clear top 3. There's Skeens, there's Skubal, and there's Crochet, however you want to order them. I don't think there's a correct or a wrong way to put those 3 in any order.
I've gone on record, but before I'll jump you there, I've gone on record that Yamamoto's a firm 4 for me. Scott Jenstead and I talked about that on the RotoWire pod. That's where I'm at. I'm curious what your take is there. It does open up, but I think he's a firm 4, Yamamoto.
That's the thing, though. There are so many names. I remember tweeting this out a while ago and getting a lot of responses to who could the number 4 be. And there's people who say Hunter Brown. There's people who say Yamamoto. I saw Hunter Green. I'm forgetting who else off the top of my head now. But there are a few names, I think. I mean, DeGrom is kind of an interesting one if you think he can stay healthy for another season. But I feel like there are a lot of Freddie Peralta has probably earned his way into that mix. If you want to buy back into Reagan's potentially, maybe that's a little bit early for Reagan's. But 4 is where the conversation kind of starts for me. And I think from my view, there it's kind of flat between maybe 4 and 10 or 15 or so, and I kind of just want to wait on pitching next year. I don't really feel like I want to take one of those early round guys. I would just wait until the 14th or 15th guy goes in the 4th or 5th round.
I definitely do too, and that will be where I get my steals is to forego some earlier pitching. Again, I'm going to stand firm on Yamamoto, though, because if you're really looking at it, the only thing that's ever really slowed him down was injury. He got hurt in 2024, but his 90 innings were brilliant. Tack on another $170 this year. He's been everything that we expected. He's on the best team. Like, some of those guys do have cases around there, but I think he's a cut above. I think it's a 4 class. And then you start talking Hunter Brown, who's very interesting.
I don't know.
I'll give you a different take. I think it is a 3 class with a 2 subclass.
Brown and Yamamoto, or are you putting something else? Yeah,
okay. Brown and Yamamoto for me.
I'm a big Brown fan, so he's right there as well. And he's put up about a similar season this year to Yamamoto, and then he didn't have as good of a year last year, but he had double the volume. So I give it at least equal credit, if not more. I put a lot of stock in going 30.
I do feel like I'm more likely to end up with one of those 2 than I am with one of the top 3. Like,
I think I'm with Joe where he was kind of going. It's one of those 5 and maybe a couple others or bust as far as getting a top end pitcher. I'm just not really interested in playing in those next couple tiers there. There's going to be a lot of intriguing pitchers, but so many of them are risers. And yeah, like Christopher Sanchez was one of those types this year, and he hit. Great. Yeah. Love it. I was in on it. Yes, that's awesome. Yeah. But I feel like it's always a rife spot because it's guys that aren't yet proven that we kind of want to push up into that potential ace. And, I've talked about this, and I get scared there. Like, even Hunter Green, you say he could be part of that too. Like, I get it, and, it's pretty obvious that I've been anti-Green in terms of trusting him with that park being a big deal. I'll take the L this year. He showed that the home run regression in the home run rate, he could sustain it because it did happen. It went back up to 1.3, and I would have thought that hit him. His ERA was the exact same, except for 0.01 off, and the whip was 10 points lower at 0.92. So I was wrong on Green. Maybe he does deserve to be there in that 4 area. But can I ask about Green specifically? What do you do with him as a top end guy with the home run rate still looming? We only had one time where he prevented homers. Now, he went as the 15th starter in this. That has to do with when it took place. I think he was on the IL. No shot he's SP 15 now, Hunter Green. Joe, I'll start with you. Sorry. I got to pick somebody there when I do that.
I mean, there is some injury concern. There's concern with Great American Ballpark. His barrel rate against is 10%. The launch angle he allows is like a 20-degree launch angle with a 10% barrel rate in that ballpark. Like, that's scary stuff. To go with the injury concern, he's not somebody that I'm going to take as high as he's going to go. He'll probably end up being a fade for me, just considering how good the numbers are on the surface. I do go back and forth, though, because, like, from a pure skill standpoint, Hunter Green is one of the nastiest pitchers in all of baseball.
Top 5 arm talent. And I think at some point, I have to get over the home. I mean, I think he just kind of showed that I for me specifically, I have to get over the homers because, again, he added them. But like, okay, here's the thing. Do you believe in the 6% walk rate, Justin, on Hunter Green? Because that was the big improvement. That's what countered it. Because I bet, and we can check it, obviously, I bet there's a lot more solos in there this year. So if you believe in that, then shouldn't you take the homers and just, okay, then they're going to be solos when he gives them up. He's like Justin Verlander in his peak. He's gassing guys, and here it is, hit it. Sometimes they clip it, but if nobody's on base.
There's another big difference between him and peak Justin Verlander.
He's not dating a model?
That... I don't know. I have no idea.
Who am I to say? I don't know Hunter Green's love.
Looking up Hunter Green girlfriend right now.
None of my beeswax. By the way, you put in any celebrity girlfriend like auto populates so often. Like, why is everyone looking that shit up? Mind your business. Anyway, go ahead.
He's not dating anyone right now.
Okay, so. Good to know. So that's one difference. What's the other difference between he and Verlander?
It's what Joe mentioned. It's the health.
The health, for sure.
Like, I mean, he only has...
He got hurt again this year.
Yeah, one season over 125 innings. I don't know that he can be considered bankable from a volume standpoint.
Who can? No, we're going to start this conversation up again. Who can? Who can? There's no 200s this year. A couple guys might get there. Webb can get there. Crochet, if he has 2 more starts, can get there. Same with Sanchez, Skubal, Fried. And I don't think any of them actually have 2 more starts.
if you look at the top 10 pitchers on our player rater, how many of them do you think have 150 innings or less?
Out of the top 10?
Out of the top 10.
4.
And it's not a quick trick question, right? Okay. You said 4, Joe?
Yeah, 150 or more, you said?
Probably 0 or 1.
It's 2, but one is Zach Wheeler and the other is Jacob deGrom.
Okay. So...
And really, you can extend that to the top 15 because there are no guys from 10 to 15 or 11 to 15 on that list.
11 to 15 that are under 150?
Yeah, that are under 150.
Yeah.
The next one you have to go to is Trevor Rogers at 16.
So here's the thing. It takes 150 to get in there, but we don't know who's going to be the buck 50s. And when it's this low, 100 Hunter Green innings is still super impactful. Like where does he rank? You know, you mentioned
21. So
okay,
like
so you mentioned Trevor Rogers did it in 100 innings. So these guys are both top 21 at 16 and 21, Rogers and Green in 100 innings.
I will agree with you that we don't know who is going to do it, right? Like every year there are guys that we expected to go 150 to 180 that don't, right? Yeah, they get hurt. They blow out their arms. But we have a pretty good idea of who's not going to. And I think Hunter Green is on that list. And so for me, I don't know that I can put Hunter Green as a top 20 pitcher,
he
knowing
just did last year though, so he's done it at least. He's done it.
We had 4 seasons he hasn't.
That's fair. I understand that.
Another thing too is the fastball velocity puts him at a huge risk for arm injury.
His fastball velocity. I agree with that.
Like that's just another thing we haven't even mentioned yet. His velocity was already off the charts, and it's gone up this year by like 1 or 2 ticks.
I'm sorry. Are you talking about Paul Skeens or Hunter Green?
I won't have a problem with Hunter Green.
Is a whole other conversation.
I won't have a problem with Hunter Green going in the top, 4 or 5 rounds. No problem at all. My problem is the people who will, and there will be people who will put him in the second round. That's where I have a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know that I do, because you said the same thing about DeGrom this year, and you're dead wrong on that, right? Like, so I think as a calculated risk, I'm not denying your risk factors here, but they're very much not unique to Hunter Green, and the upside, it robs you of the upside.
I want to fight back. I didn't say that about DeGrom, and I drafted DeGrom in the 4th round. Like, it was the fact
you've been known to draft guys that you've publicly gone against.
No,
before.
but it was, I had DeGrom as my number 4 or 5
pitcher. Okay, fair enough. I picked the wrong guy to say that on.
With
I'll eat that. I'll eat that.
Something innings, right?
Correct.
It's about the value, right? Like it is. There's nothing wrong with taking that gamble 4th, 5th round, especially if you're taking him as your number 2 starter, which is where I took. Like
in the second round, what do you want? What do you want? You want a guy who can be an ace, contend for the top spot, and gives you like sort of a bankable floor.
Yes.
We just got done talking about how Hunter Green is the 21st starter in 100 innings. So if he can do that in just 100 innings, and his upside is literally the top pitcher, why is that not worth a second?
But every guy going in the second round as a starting pitcher has the upside to be the top guy, and
the downside to be done in a week.
But most of them don't have the likelihood that they're going to be done in a week.
They all live. Again, I'm going to do this again for a whole nother year.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're getting closer. I think we're getting closer for you. I think it's about degrees again.
It is about degrees.
But where are you getting this confidence level of this bankability?
It isn't necessarily a confidence level. It is
because you're going to take worse pitchers ahead of him because you're going to perceive them bankable. That's my problem.
But they're not that much worse.
Yeah, we're not talking about taking scrub.
I'm not talking about.
But they're not any safer. Is my point.
But
they're not that much worse, and they're not actually any safer in practice.
The thing with Green is there are red flags already existing that we don't have for other pitchers that are going in that range. In terms of the ballpark, in terms of the multiple groin injuries, in terms of the fastball velo impacting a potential elbow injury.
The velo, I wouldn't bring that velo up. That's going to affect the bulk of people going early. That's a trademark of going early. Is
why
high
aren't
velo.
Why aren't you making the argument for him being in that top 3 then? Because he's got just as much arm talent as that top 3.
Well, I think I'm talking myself into putting him 5 behind Yamamoto. Like, because again, if he can do that in 100,
but he's got more arm talent than Yamamoto.
Oh, well, he's on a better. I'm going to use the soft factors of team and stadium there.
He's got the same arm talent as Paul Skeens, and he's on a better team than Paul Skeens.
I don't know if I
Okay.
agree with that. I think Skeens is a better pitcher still.
I don't know how you're really well, how can you even make a real separation there?
I don't know that you can make that argument.
Because Skeens has pitched his entire career of a sub-2 ERA to this point while pitching full healthy seasons.
In PNC Park. But anyway, but what contradiction do you think you're getting me on if I put Green 5th versus Skeens 2?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if you don't believe that there is any difference in injury risk between pitchers,
I believe. No.
Then you should just be taking the guys with the best stuff.
That's what I do. That's why I had Crochet, and that's why I was on Crochet and DeGrom, like, because they were the cases this year. And again, you were on DeGrom, but I'm betting on the best talent. I'll take the Blake Snell chance again too. Now it won't be as high this year, but I'm still going to take the most talented arms because you perceive this gulf in bankability that I don't know how we're still seeing that in today's game. And again, when I point to 101 innings getting you to the 21st pitcher, how does that not register of like that's kind of a floor, isn't it? Like 100 innings.
I want to. We only have an hour, so
I know. We're spending a lot of time on one guy. I'm sorry.
But I kind of want to pitch this as a panel for FPAS.
Okay.
Because I got asked today, like, what panel would I like to be a part of, and I kind of want you and me and someone else to just, or we could just do it at FPAS.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Because this is
I wonder who could moderate that.
I'll moderate it.
I mean, Joe, you can moderate that. That'd be absolutely fine by me. I'd have no problem with that.
I
just want you to shrink. I just want you to shrink this degree of certainty that you feel.
It's not
because it's not there.
You're posing it as a degree of certainty. It's
that's what you're calling it.
It's a degree of uncertainty about certain pitchers.
You're taking lesser talented pitchers because you perceive them as safer and this guy more dangerous. However you're framing that's the opposite. That's just a different way of saying what I'm saying, though, right? You're giving Green more risk, which I'm not entirely sure is there, because I think the safe guys. The easiest example here would then be Logan Gilbert is your guy. He's as safe as can be. 208 innings last year, led the league, 120 this year. Not the best season.
Yeah, everybody has a level of risk, but if you're
and it's very high at the start, and Green's is higher, but it's very high for everyone.
As long as you say Green's is higher, then that's the argument, right? Because I'm not saying you're wrong.
That's not the only argument, though. The degree matters.
Let me make my point.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right.
Right? As long as you're saying that the risk is higher, then it is not a discussion on whether they have the risk or they don't, or have a higher degree of risk than some. It's a discussion on what is your risk tolerance. And my risk tolerance for that.
Yours doesn't logically make sense, though, if I can be honest. No, it doesn't.
Absolutely does.
It doesn't, because... No, okay. Well, we do have to move on. But it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think when you start looking at these players year to year, you should start saying that it doesn't. Anyway, so when Skeen, Skubal, Crochet were the top three.
We're going to look at these players year to year. That's what we're fucking
They were in the top three, and then it went Sale, Gilbert, Ryan were the next three. And again, those would not be the next three now. And it just tells you how much this moment in time decides where these drafts go. And that happens in draft season too, right? But when the regular season's affecting it, I think it's a bigger deal because it can change so much. So then it went Brown, Yamamoto, Christopher Sanchez. I want to go on this Sale, Gilbert, Ryan trio here. Joe, and I want to start with you on this group. Where's your confidence level in any of the trio? You got Sale getting a year older and got hurt this year. Gilbert now coming off of a 120 inning season. And then Joe Ryan just hanging out there, being on that crappy team, but kind of doing his thing.
I mean, Joe Ryan, I think, is probably one of the safer pitchers in fantasy and one of the more underrated pitchers year in and year out.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because ERA's too high for an ace, and he doesn't get enough credit for his amazing whips.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Like, strikeout minus walk rate is the easiest shorthand if you're trying to figure out how good a pitcher is, in my opinion. The last three seasons, 24%, 23%, 22.5%. The whips, 117, 0.99, 102. The ERA at 3.35, like maybe this year he'll become a little bit more expensive. I have no problem with him as the number 4. And the velocity
Ooh.
thing. I think
No,
the
no,
velocity.
no. He cannot be the number 4 with a 1-4 homer 9 career.
I mean, what about freaking Hunter Green here?
Yeah, what's Hunter Green's career?
I set these traps for you guys
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's just too easy. Because if you really want to line up Hunter Green and Joe Ryan, and I have to tell you guys why one is better than the other, come on, guys. 93 and a half miles an hour that he throws. It's not the same as Bailey Ober. It's higher than Bailey Ober, but Joe Ryan is living on a thin line. And then as his velo goes down, that home run rate's going to hurt him a lot. I think he's actually a huge risk going forward. There's no chance I would draft him at the price that he's going to go to. No, he's going to go way too high. He's a strong bet for a 4 ERA in any given season with that home run rate. He's still a great whip bet, but if he's going inside the top 10 starters, 0% chance I'm taking.
He was a 117 homer 9, 10.6% homer to fly ball.
Mm-hmm. His best ever. What about his career, Joe? 1-4 and 12%.
It's gotten progressively better each of the last 3 years, though.
Okay, I'm not really moved by from 15 to 12 to 11%. That's not really skill growth. That's variance. And it happens to be going in the right direction. The 15% I'll say is not his career mark, but he had a 10% in 2022. You just said he's coming off his best year, and then he had his worst year. You see why that doesn't really work?
But 2023 is an outlier for me in terms of the home runs allowed. 15% homer to fly ball, 178.
I just said that with all due respect. I literally just said that's not his true talent, but 12% is, and so is a 1-2, 1-4 type homer per
but
nine.
But does the 12% homer to fly ball really scare you off when you're getting a 20?
Absolutely. When for the future though, right? It's not about what he's done, guys. Take Bailey Ober as an example. You have the example right on his team. Bailey Ober, as bankable as it gets. Should you really worry about the homers? Yes, because once the bottom falls out on that velo, you're cooked, and that's exactly what happened to him. Now he might have longer than Bailey Ober did because Bailey Ober throws 90 and he throws 94 for Joe Ryan. But the same concerns are there. And as you said, Joe, the price is going to go up because now his ERA is more in line with a high-quality starter at a 3.35 versus the 3.6 and the 4.50 of the last 2 years. And I'm not paying for it. This is a bad helium guy, Joe Ryan.
I don't know. I don't think it's I think you're.
The whip is good. The whip is good, but I think you're paying for a 3.80 ERA. True talent.
If you get a 3.80 ERA with a 1 whip over
from the fifth starter off, you said you could take him at 4.
I think at this point I wouldn't. I mean, admittedly, the last month or so has not been good for him. Which is
I don't think I'm taking him that high, but so I'm kind of probably in between you guys in terms of this. But I don't love the Ober comp. I think the Ober comp is prevalent because they pitch on the same team. They've got a similar profile.
They have the exact same profile.
Joe Ryan's stuff has been way better over the course of his career.
I said he could avoid it.
So
it could be at a better scale. But the
Ober
never cost a top 10 starting pitcher price either. And Joe Ryan. So again, we're scaling this, and I agree with you as a 1-to-1. I'm not saying that Joe. Let me be clear. I am not saying Paul Sporer is not saying that Joe Ryan's going to have a 5 ERA next year. I'm not saying that. I'm also not even saying he's going to be a stone cold bust. Do I want to pay a top? Let's agree on something. Do we think he's going to be a top 10 starter, Joe Ryan? Drafted. Yes. Okay. I am not paying an SP10 price for Joe Ryan to get a 3.80 ERA, a 1 whip that could go higher. The whip is great, but the ERA is a big risk when you allow homers that consistently. And if as the velo goes down when he turns age 30,
I think he's probably a 360 guy. So
each little tick is probably about a quarter of a run ERA. On the ERA to velo scale too. So
I will say this: what do you guys? And this, I'm gonna frame a question, and then I'm gonna give you why that makes him a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
It depends on how you guys answer, though. Honestly, do you guys think Rocco Baldelli gets fired?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this, but go ahead, Joe. I'm yapping enough.
As a fantasy manager, I hope to God he gets fired. I mean,
right.
Well, and that's why I'm asking.
That's what Justin's getting to. So I think yes, I do. I actually think he is going to.
Is there a chance the next manager lets these guys pitch longer into games?
Well, we'll learn. Is this a Twins philosophy or a Rocco philosophy?
It could. I mean, because it easily could be. Either,
it could be one and the same, right? So Yeah, but that's a great point, because if they did, because he's never thrown over 161, he's matching his career high right now. Joe Ryan's going to set a new high with
he's going to get one more
every
start,
inning.
but it'll be 5 innings only.
Right, and that's the problem. Like, he's not, so you don't even get the full like 190 innings of that whip. Now, if he can do that, and you're right, so there is maybe some growth there, and I will allow that. And I've always maintained that this profile.
Now you're adding on strikeouts, you're adding on wins, you're adding on,
And he got 13 this year when they were crappy. I think they're going to be okay next year. I don't think that they're like a bottom feeding team. They sold.
I don't
this
think they're
year.
bottom feeding, but I don't think they're much better than they were this year.
No. I think. You don't think they're like a 500 type?
No, because I think. Well, I don't even know if Joe Ryan's on this team next year.
Well, then that's fair. That might make him more intriguing then too. What if he goes to a homer happy place, a homer helping place that can get him down to
Homer
0.8.
happy place.
Homer happy place. Then I'm way out.
So
I'm not planting my flag that like he is the number 4. I'm just saying.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
That I could make an argument when I look at like the whole picture of the whip, the great.
I can make the argument that he deserves to be at the bottom of the top 10. I don't know if
I can't get to 4, but I can see maybe the top 10 argument.
Honestly, that'll probably be a tiny little glob of guys where it's like, hey, which guys do you want?
Like, I think honestly, after you get past the top 3 guys, the Scooble, Crochet, and Skeens, I think that 4 to like 15, Peralta, Sale, Wu, Sanchez, like I don't really see a huge difference as of today with a lot of those guys, and I feel like I'll just take.
I think that's fair.
There. I think I'll just take the Dave Falls.
Yeah, I got no problem with that. I just want to be careful in overrating Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan. I've been a Joe Ryan proponent, but I think the price is going to get too high. And Justin and I always talk about, because we can evolve from liking to disliking a player and vice versa, and it's always about the price. And with Joe Ryan's price going to get too high for me.
It's also about what the player does, right? Like, I've been out on Brian Wu, but after this year, I'm not out on Brian Wu anymore. Finally put together a full season.
Let's talk Brian Wu. Let's talk Brian Wu. He went. Let me set you up real quick here. He went SP16 in this. That's not going to happen. He's going to be contending for SP10 now, a top 10, I think. Yeah. What do we think? Continue on your point there, because you have been an anti-Brian Wu guy, tied specifically to his injuries, I think, mostly. Now, he does drop $182 this year in 29 starts. He'll get 30. All-star campaign, great year. You see more of the same here. He's like the best of Joe Ryan, because he brings that whip and he has a better ERA. So I would take Wu over Ryan all day.
Listen, if you subscribe to the Church of Paul Sporer, you should have Brian Wu as potentially a top 5 or 6 starting pitcher. The skills are immaculate, and if you don't believe that there's added injury risk based on what we saw in 2023, him having elbow problems, in 2024, him having elbow problems, then like from a straight talent perspective, he deserves to be. Yeah, he deserves to be in that top 10 and probably towards the top of that top 10. And I don't necessarily have a problem with it, honestly. Like he's a good team, good park. The skills are fantastic. I was actually really, really impressed with what seemed like some command and control gains, which is surprising from a guy who didn't really have command and control problems.
Right.
But like
I strengthened his strength.
The only concern I have about Brian Wu is health, right? And a full year of 180, probably 185, 186 innings, whatever it's going to end up being at the end of this season. Like, you have to start wiping some of those away. Maybe not completely, but you got to start wiping some of those away.
He can at least do it, right? Look, once you take the 30 turns,
I'd rather have Brian Wu than Hunter Green.
Me too.
They're close. They're close for me. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna have like Green 5, maybe Wu 6. I'm just kind of mapping it off the top of my head, and I'd be intellectually dishonest not to bring up the fact that Brian Wu has a 1-2 homer 9 for his career, but he plays in Seattle, and that certainly helps mitigate it. And he doesn't walk anybody either, which is similar to Joe Ryan. So I think he's like Joe Ryan in a better situation. So I think his and to Justin's point about the innings, Wu just did it for a full year, and we can't get Joe Ryan to get to 180 because of his manager. So I would be really interested to see if they move on from him. I want to talk about the Brown, Yamamoto, Sanchez trio a little bit as a group more than anything else, because we've talked a little bit Yamamoto and Brown already. They went 7, 8, 9. I think there's a strong chance to go 4, 5, 6 in a lot of different drafts in some order. Justin, of that trio, do you have a lean between Hunter Brown, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Christopher Sanchez?
This is probably my 4, 5, 6 right here.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna have a really hard time with Christopher Sanchez because my heart says he should be about as high as you can put him, and then, but like he still pitches in Philadelphia. I don't know what Philadelphia is going to look like after this season. It feels like they've pushed a lot of their chips in for this year, and now with Zach Wheeler gone, do they say, okay, let's turn it over and start take Schwarber's contract is up, do they start trading away some of these pieces? So I think for me right now, without doing projections start Sunday night, but I probably go Brown, Yamamoto, Christopher Sanchez as my 4, 5, 6.
I think that's totally fine. Brown 4, Yamamoto 9, Sanchez 13 on the player rater this year. I should also mention Brian Wu up to 7. That's why I said he won't go SP 16 again. That was a product of the moment that they drafted that. Joe, your thoughts on that trio there, that Brown, Yamamoto, Sanchez trio? Does one jump out to you? Do you like them in that 4 to 9, that top 10, back end of the top 10 range?
Yeah, they're all definitely top 10. Thinking about it, the Astros might be in kind of a similar situation to the Phillies next year, where I don't know what the team is really going to look like with Yordan Alvarez's health being what it's been.
Brutal.
Awful. Altuve is in the middle of his age 35 season.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Walker is going to be 35. Outside of that,
they got Correa.
You got Carlos Correa, Jeremy Pena, Paredes. I don't think it's a horrible team necessarily, but I think it's going to be kind of the similar worries what you have with Sanchez that you have with Hunter Brown, where maybe he does end up with 9 or 10.
Frommer's a free agent too, isn't he?
I don't know. I don't know what the team is going to look like necessarily. When you initially said Yamamoto 4, I was like, I'm not sure if he's number 4, but I don't have any problem with it. What he's done this season, over about 170 innings, pitching for that team.
His situation's so stable too, right? Like,
yeah, he's still young.
Everything's just looking so good for him to become the next great ace. There's injury concerns, sure. Again, every pitcher, give me the talent.
Yeah. We're talking about Yamamoto right now?
Yamamoto on that one, yeah.
I think my only real concern, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of injury concern considering last year, but it's really that we know they're going to be in a 6-man rotation. And that is just a few less innings to
Right. Will they move? Yeah, because they're always going to be moving things around like that, right?
Yeah, well, especially with Ohtani going to be full-time in the rotation. Yeah. They're going to give their guys, and and Glass now, his injury issues, Snell's injury issues, like, they're always going to give these guys extra time off, which just lowers the ceiling in terms of innings. So
no, that's definitely true.
I think that's for me the reason I don't put him above Brown. If that wasn't a concern, if I could go, hey, there's a reasonable chance he could get to 190 this year, I think I'd put him in that top 3. But I don't think there is a reasonable chance he can get to 190 any year because he pitches for the Dodgers, which is fine because they'll get plenty of wins. Like, he could win 17 games in 150 innings, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. I mean, yeah, I am really curious because I forgot just how many injuries they had as I'm mapping out their rotation next year. I was like, are they going to have a 7-man? No, it'll play itself out. Things will happen.
Yeah. I mean, they'll always have injuries, and then they'll always figure it out.
Well, and they're always going to be playing for October, too. And so that's just going to be part of it is they're going to want to save juice there. There's just no real reason, unless they're pressed for a playoff spot or for the division when it's the bye, there's no real reason to press those guys. They're getting Snell tuned up at the perfect moment for October. Go ahead, Justin.
If you had told me at the start of the season that at this point in the season they hadn't clinched yet the division.
Crazy, right?
I mean, this is what we consider a down year for the
Giants. I know, dude.
That's the frustrating part of the
standard that we hold them to. They're barely flinching. Like, dude,
they're not going to be the best team in the National League. Losers.
Are they complete trash that we should never look at again? All right, Justin. We don't have a ton of time on this episode. We got to do some Spencer Schwellenbach. He got hurt. Are you gonna be looking at him as like somebody to? Wait. What's the name? Did he go TJ?
No. He had got a fracture in his elbow.
Oh, that's right. So is he somebody you're going to be jumping back on next year? And where do you think the price point lands? He still went SP 19 here.
He went way higher than I thought he was going.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that.
When I saw that, I was really
small
sad.
fracture, by the way. That was the note here. Small fracture.
When I saw that, I was really sad because I don't know if I'd pay that price. And
you were hoping to get a discount.
Yeah, no one loves Spencer Schwellenbach more than me. Yeah. I love Spencer Schwellenbach more than his own mother loves Spencer Schwellenbach. And so, like, for me,
he ruined her team, so she was pretty mad.
Yeah. So for him to be still going as a top 20 starter at that, in that draft, like, that was shocking to me.
I wonder if some recency bias of, like, when the October drafts will start up will push him down in favor of some other guys.
I'm sure it will.
But where do you need Schwelly to go to, like, feel that comfort level?
That's hard because I don't know if I will draft him before spring training.
In the fall, right. I figured you might be saying that, and that makes sense. Joe, is Schwellenbach somebody that you would be trying to get in the fall, or are you going to wait until the spring as well and get full info before you take any Schwellenbach shares?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird injury. Like, not a lot of guys fracture their elbow, so I'm not really sure how that's going to impact him.
Doesn't seem great.
No, it doesn't sound good at all. Mid-fifth, even at this stage, feels expensive. And you have to assume, based on the people in this room who are mostly main event players, if not all of them, that he's going to be even more expensive come, January, February. It leads me to believe I'm just going to be out on him altogether. If this is what the NFBC crowd is doing, he's going in the 60, 70 range. That's too expensive for me. He needs to be probably, I'd say in the 7th round, I'd give it a hard look, but anything earlier than that, I think
I kind of expected him being like the 90 to 100. Like, that was...
Why isn't he in this, like, Brandon Woodruff, Pablo Lopez, Yuri Perez area for Schwellenbach, right? Of guys that, like, did something this year, but, carry plenty of risk. Now, he's not on the field, and I think all three... Pablo's pitching, right?
Yeah.
He's back.
So all three of them are pitching, and he's not right now, but he had that blazing first half. But you would think he'd go lower than out of sight, out of mind for Schwellenbach. Instead, he's going much higher than that group, and that's kind of interesting to me. So maybe that was an anomaly, and he doesn't sit in the top 20 starters. But if he does, I probably won't have him. Go ahead.
And so like, that's a really interesting thing that we want to bring up during this kind of whole process is when you're preparing for a draft like this without any sort of pre-draft rankings.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and no ADP to go off of.
No ADP to go off of, no pre-draft rankings to go off other than what you make yourself. People often default to two things. One, a player rater of sorts.
Right.
And
he was still very high on
He was still very high on it. Number two, last year's drafts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I do wonder if, as we, like, another really good litmus test is going to be when we're at Arizona Fall League.
Yep.
And people are having to do similar things.
He's still SP30, by the way.
I know,
another
that's
guy like
crazy to me.
Bubic SP31. You got two guys there that only went 110 and 116 innings respectively, and they're right there, top 30 and 31.
Well, I mean, Zach Wheeler's number 10 right now. Like,
right. And he's just gone, obviously. So that's tough. It's a very interesting group. And again, I haven't focused a ton on, like, the order of these because we have gotten far enough from it that, like, this order is going to change a ton. It's still fun to talk about the pitchers, but, like,
and I think if we redid this draft today, it would be
completely different. Framber Valdez, let's talk about him because I mentioned he's going to be a free agent. Framber Valdez was the 20th starter, and talking about a guy that Justin and I love. We're big fans. I got to be honest, not a big fan of the way he's finishing the season. We talked about that thing where he crossed up his catcher and pegged him. I thought that was completely bitch made. Hated that, and he just looks like trash down the stretch here. The Astros are, trying to hold on in spite of what he's doing. 6.41 ERA in the last 46 innings. Now you can wipe that away with a good playoff, but he is going to be a free agent next year. Joe, I want to start with you. Framber Valdez, what's your take after this weak finish and going into free agency? Is he somebody you might draft in the fall to try to catch a discount, or are you going to wait to see where he lands?
He's the type of guy that I think is pretty safe. Wherever he lands, I don't think that the destination really matters so much for me just because of how many ground balls he gets, right? So I think that plays pretty much anywhere. We have such a track record of consistency going back really forever. 2019, when he first started out, that's kind of the only blip on his career. More than 1,000 innings of a 3.35 ERA with good supporting metrics. The strikeouts don't blow you away at 23-24%. But it's totally fine. This is the type of guy I think I will be targeting in the early drafts if people start to push him down. Now, in this draft, I think this happened right before he really fell apart.
Okay, yes, that would make sense because it's
Roughly.
been down the stretch, and it was sometime in like early August, and he's been brutal since with only one good start. Justin, this is your guy. I think there could be a discount. You're not a Fromber guy?
I think you're thinking Jason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a big Fromber guy too. I'm a huge Fromber guy, so I wasn't like sloughing him off on you, but I thought you were part of the Fromber group. Okay,
I'm okay with
no,
Fromber.
fuck you then.
there's
No, you're out.
nothing
You're
wrong.
you're out. You don't get him anymore. My guy Fromber. What do you think? Gonna be a free agent again? Not my guy when he's throwing at his catcher, but what do you think next year going into free agency?
Now I know why he's your guy.
No, come on. Of the two of us, you're way more likely to do that.
He wasn't your guy, but now he is. So I think that this is a guy that I'm probably staying away from until I know where he signs.
I'm buying the dip, dude.
There's two really interesting factors for Fromber. One that has already been alluded to, right? He hit his catcher, and there are going to be organizations that just say, we're not signing you for that. Like, we don't want to bring that into our club.
It's very Bush.
Right? Especially if your manager's a former catcher, which there are a lot of managers that are former
That's
catchers.
a great point, dude.
Right?
Don't bring that a-hole in here. We don't want him.
You think Buster Posey is going out of his way to sign Framber Valdez this offseason? I don't think so.
That's funny.
The other thing is, I think this could be a really weird free agent market just in general with a looming potential of a shutdown or a lockout in 2027, right? At the end of the 2026 season, going into 2027, there's going to be more likely than not some sort of labor issues. And so I do think, especially with the fact that owners are pushing for a salary cap of some sort, owners may not want to go crazy. So now you're already saying he's got a shrunk market because of what he did, and there's a shrunk market because there are going to be certain teams that refuse to spend anything this offseason.
That is definitely true. I agree.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not going to say he's not going to sign, but I think that all of a sudden we don't know where, and he could be one of those guys like Blake Snell that waits a really long time.
Could linger out there. I'll say though, the longer it would go, the more I'd probably buy the dip. I don't know. I think Fromber.
We know that's a mistake. Almost every pitcher that signs late into spring really struggles.
Depends how late. You're absolutely right. If it is that like March signing, I'm with you there.
You won't know that until March, right? If you draft him in November.
Yes. I wouldn't keep drafting him, but I'm still going to take him early. Absolutely. And if it happens, I take that risk.
How early?
Well, I don't have to take him SP20. I don't think that'll be his price anywhere near, if I'm being honest. So let me look at SP30 was Max Fried. I think it'll be cheaper than that. I think he could be like SP35 or 40.
I don't know. I don't think he'll fall that far.
You don't think so?
I don't think. To 40, I don't think so.
I think people are prisoners of the moment. I think in the early drafts he will.
Would you rather have Framber or
He's
Robbie
SP38 on the year. Fromber, easily.
Framber, yeah.
Fromber or...
Wait. Who would you rather have? I fucking dare you to say Robbie Ray over Fromber Valdez. You're insane, dude. This is why you're so full of shit with everything that you say about pitchers. You're so full of shit. Based on everything you say, there's no way you shouldn't be taking Fromber there. The fact you're taking Robbie Ray, you're totally full of shit.
Once I do my projections, I probably...
You're trolling me. You're just trolling me. You live to troll me.
But I'm actually afraid of this scenario. Like, this scenario...
That is very fair because you are 100% right. If it goes to March... Get out on a guy.
If you told me Houston re-signed him today, I'm taking Framber Valdez. If you told me,
whereabouts, by the way, for you then? SP 30, 35, 40, 25?
I think in the top 30.
Okay. He probably won't go to 40. You're right, Joe. I don't think he goes to 40.
Why would he even fall out of the top 30 if we have an actual reason?
Because people are prisoners of the moment. He finished terribly, and he's going to be outside.
But we don't care about that.
No, but the draft market will, I'm saying.
No, but you just asked me where
right. Sorry. I thought you were arguing the ADP. No, I agree. I agree. We're not going to get caught up in that. He still has a pretty Fromberian season. Not as good as last year, but pretty much in line with 2023. So, yeah, although his whip is up a decent bit, 113 to 122. I will say that.
The walks went up.
But I will...
And the defense behind him was not as good.
I won't overload on Fromber because you're right. If it lurks on the free agency, that's bad.
That is.
But I will take a winter one if the
Yeah,
price,
see, I
if
won't.
the discount, I'll try to spike one discount because we build portfolio. You know, we play too many leagues, so we build portfolios as opposed to just getting one player in a league type thing.
I mean,
All right,
I don't know that I'll have any winter leagues, but yeah. I mean, I'll have some gladiators.
guys, mark the time. 44, 42.
I'll
It might be
gladiator.
ended a little bit different. Justin Mason just said he won't have any winter league. I don't think I'm going to have any winter leagues. We can all laugh, clip it,
I'll have gladiators.
keep it. It'll be great. All right, let's see here. Where do we want to go from here? That's adorable that you said that. I love that for you. Cole Reagan's coming back off of injury. How do we feel about him, Joe? I want to talk to you about Cole Reagan's here. He's going to finish on the field. Justin and I always promote that as a big deal when we're talking about getting back on an injured guy because you're less in the dark. You saw him finish on the field. They're at least healthy at that moment. You can have some more confidence. Now, he's only going to have the 2 starts, the one he just had, and then, or maybe 2 more, but like 3 starts off the IL. Are you back in on Reagan's as a stud?
I think I am. I really want to be. Like, just looking at what he's done, I know the ERA is going to stand out like a sore thumb to a lot of people. Like, when they enter into their home leagues next year, they open up the Yahoo app and they see, holy shit, Cole Reagan's at a 5.16 ERA last year.
And like 60 innings too, so he's going to be like way down the
But that's
the
where
ranking.
I want him, right?
Right. No, this is a great buy the
leagues,
dip opportunity.
like-
Absolutely.
Strikeouts this year have been off the charts.
Yep.
36%. He's maintained an 8% walk rate. Yeah, the whip has been higher because he's given up a lot more hits than he probably should have. 48 hits allowed in 52 innings. I just don't think we're going to see that again from him. Stuff is still good. I believe the velo is still solid for Reagan's. Like, I don't have any real issues with this season. I think we throw it in the trash bin and we start over from 2026, where he'll probably be going at a discount. If he ends up as a top 5 pitcher at the end of next season, I don't think anybody should be surprised. But he'll be drafted as the 20th guy probably.
Cole Reagan could absolutely be somebody who you get very cheaply relative to where he's going to finish in the fall, but then it rises by spring because he was SP29 in this. He was hurt at the moment, so that makes sense. I think he would go up from there, but I think he's one who could be like in the 20s, late teens in the fall and be top 10 in the spring if he looks like he's supposed to. Cole Reagan's. So I'm going to buy the dip. This is another guy I want to buy in the fall and get as cheap a price as I can. Justin, where do you come out with Cole Reagan's returning from injury and finishing on the field?
I love that he's finishing on the field, but we're now talking about 2024 looks like the aberration in terms of health, and that scares the crap out of me considering I know he's going to be going way higher than I would want to take him.
Would you have paid this? Sorry to interrupt you. Would you have paid this SP29 price here that was paid when he was hurt?
Maybe.
Okay, so if you're hemming and hawing there, then you're going to be out on Reagan's because I don't think he's going to be
no
anywhere
way
near that price.
And that's the problem. There's no way he's like outside the top 25 starters. And from a skills perspective, that's right. But like this, I don't know how like he 2 of the last 3 seasons he hasn't made 100 innings. And
okay, I am not even trolling right now, and we're not going to derail the last 15 minutes we got here. Who do you draft then, though? Like, because every guy's like this anymore.
No,
it just feels like so many are. It's so hard to put together, and you put together some great rotations this year. So I'm not even saying like everything you do is wrong.
My pitching was fantastic, so I stand by my.
I want to go over those rotations too, because I'd like to know like the build, like what they looked like here, and how much they stayed true to your theory of only guys who've pitched 250 innings somehow, in a given season. But like I just don't know.
So here's why, right? This is why my projections favor this. Is when I start, I have to start with some sort of baseline, right?
Sure. Yep.
And so I'm starting kind of with a 3-year average.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you plug in a guy like Reagan's with a 3-year average, and all of a sudden
it's gonna be rough.
That number of innings is just gonna be lower.
Mm-hmm.
So like that is why I end up with a lot of these Logan Webbs, the Framber Valdez's of the world, like these kind of guys that have shown consistent ability to throw 150 plus innings year after year. Now, sometimes those guys have the year, Logan Gilbert this year, right? That where like, hey, if you looked at his 3-year average, you would have went one of the safest guys in fantasy. Very good reason I had him as my number 2 starting pitcher this year.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody can get hurt, right?
So if we're going to subscribe to like what Dave talks about a lot, like with the velocity band at 96 point something or other, and all of those guys and above that are huge risks, then the guys that we should be targeting based on that are Fried, Wu, Yamamoto, Pepio, Peralta, Gosman,
all hurt,
Bybee.
except for Gosman there. All hurt consistently, or have had injury issues. That's all I'm saying, right?
Have had injury issues.
Right, like
this year we're mostly healthy.
They're not even safe though. The velo guys. So I'm just going to take the talent.
Yeah,
I'm gonna spike the big seasons. You know, give me the guys who are the best. The top 3 velo guys this year: Skeens, DeGrom, Skubal, Alcantara, Soriano, Boz. After that, right, making the case, but 3 up, 3 down.
But those are also all guys who have shown the ability to like actually stay healthy, like throw those.
DeGrom had done it like 7 years ago.
Oh,
so
sorry,
really fits.
Not DeGrom, but yeah, Skubal has shown.
Sure. I'm not saying I don't want guys who stay healthy. They just don't really exist, right? Like that's the thing. There is no stability here.
Never take a pitcher.
Well, that's kind of my general point. Absolutely. Yeah. Take an ace and then wait. That's exactly my point. Don't take early pitchers. I have fully evolved into Nick Pollock, and now I'm taking it to the 15-team league thing. Now it'll be dicier. He takes it into the 12-team, 10-team landscape. It is easier to manipulate a waiver wire, but I'm just going to.
You will see me this year, or not this year, next year, do Labadini in a draft.
Got to do it.
And we're just gonna see how it rolls.
It's $9 on pitching, right? Yeah. For those that don't know, it's $9, and with your auction skills and your preference for them, I think you should. I like that. All right, let's continue on here. Let's talk about some other guys. Man, there is a lot of talent because, like, even at the bottom here, you got like Bieber, Mizorowski, Zebby, Waldrop, Luis Castillo as like an old head if you want a little bit more, at least track record down there. Gavin Williams, my guy, Kyle Bradish coming back. Could he be next year's Trevor Rogers, the Oriole who comes back and dominates? Let's do Burns and Mizorowski to finish off here, because obviously they were two of the big flavors of the time in the summer there, and like, I don't know, this is maybe a little bit vindictive, but like, can we go back and dunk on all those dweebs who were like, oh, they should be top 5 starters right this moment after one start? I'm just kidding. I like getting excited about pitchers too, but like, did either of them pan out?
Mizorowski kind of, sort of.
You had a 4.35 ERA, and you probably got like, did you get every one of his? You couldn't have gotten every one of his starts in the NFBC because he has to do something. So even if you take off that first start, then it's up to a 4.75 ERA. And he was a nightmare to manage down the stretch. I would say that Mizorowski was absolutely not worth it.
I don't think at the end of the day he probably
81
was.
Strikeouts in 60 innings.
Mm-hmm.
That was worth it. The whip was good, but by and large, what people paid for him, it probably wasn't worth it.
It probably wasn't worth it, but I also think like, hey, these $300 bids are very rarely worth it.
That's fair.
But if we're flipping it to next year, like you look under the hood, it's a 2.98 xERA.
It's insane talent.
A 113 whip, an unreal 33.3% strikeout rate. Like, there's a lot to like for next season, and he's going to be on a team that is very good. They're the best team in the National League by record this year.
Where do you think you're taking Mizorowski?
Probably not as high as he's going, but
okay.
Like I
was trying to catch you on that one.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a top 10 discussion kind of guy for a lot of people.
It's not going to be SP 43, which is what he was in this draft.
No way.
No shot. Absolutely no shot whatsoever. Joe, Mizorowski next year. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like if he's sitting where he is on this draft board every time, but he's not ever going to be. I think
let's split the diff. Sorry to interrupt you there. Let's split the diff. Let's say 25. SP 25 for Jacob Mizorowski. That would put him in this draft. That would have put him between Pablo Lopez and Brandon Woodruff, one of his teammates.
I would put him in the 7th round. I would be fine with it in the 7th round, but I don't think he's even going to be that far down.
You know why?
I'm not sure he is either, to be honest.
I don't think he's going to be that far down either. But I love that spot for him because that is almost guaranteed you have at least one starter and probably a closer as well.
It's like a bankable starter, the closer, and then get him. Yeah,
a Yamamoto Mizorowski start.
That could be really, with an ace closer, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Chase Burns then, obviously similar, but not quite, because he didn't have the whip. His ERA was similarly bad The whip was 136. He did strike out the universe, though. 59 Ks in 38 innings. Obviously going to be cheaper, but he was SP, let's see here, 35 in this draft. I think he could stay around there and even drop.
Yeah, I think he will drop, probably.
Yeah, so go ahead. What do you think about Chase Burns then, Justin?
I mean, I don't think he's as polished a product as Mizorowski is.
You got a 4.86 ERA, by the way, because you didn't get the first start. So you got a 4.86 lopping off that first start. Sorry.
In people's home leagues, if they're not playing FBC, they got that first.
You got the full thing. My bad. Too NFBC centric.
I mean, it's a 362 xERA, so like, yeah, he had a 367 BABIP and a 62%, or has a 62% left on base percentage. So like, you think that that's going to level out, but he also pitches in Cincinnati. We do worry about the command and control just on his arm alone. I could see a lot of, and he had an elbow issue, right? Like he was on the IL for an elbow issue. So this feels oddly similar to Teammate Hunter Green, where there's a lot of red flags that people are going to ignore.
I was waiting to draw that comp very easily because yes, you should. You should ignore the red flags at the right price.
Yeah, bad park.
Because the talent is obscene. It is very similar, and it is kind of like if you don't get Green, you don't want to pay the premium for Green, take the baby doppelganger Burns and see what you can get. But I am curious where this price is going to land, Joe, so I do want to focus on Chase Burns' potential price with you a little bit more than where you're at on his talent, because we know the arm talent is loud and amazing, but it's a little scary. I do think he's going to go lower than this SP35. Do we think he's like 50? Where are you pricing Chase Burns next year?
I think he's probably going to go in the first 10 rounds in an FBC stand. Like, I think he'll be a top 150
pick. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're probably right. I don't think I can do that.
And I honestly think that's probably lowballing it. Like, yeah, we see a couple of spring starts where he's lighting up the radar, et cetera.
Let me be clear. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Talking early drafts.
Exactly, because I absolutely agree with you. Chase Burns is a helium guy all the way. The second he looks good in spring, 50 picks, 30 picks. He's going to be like one of those big rocketers. So let's focus on October, November, where you maybe could get those discounts. What do you think is a good price to jump at there that you'd be comfortable with? Is it outside that $150 for you?
No, I think I'd take him in like the 130, 1 to 140 kind of range and be okay with it. I think as like an SP3 in that range, I think it's fine. I'd want to have some safety and security, and we can go back to that whole thing again.
No, that's all right. I won't do it.
Like, I wouldn't want to take him with like Hunter Green and DeGrom as my 1 and 2. I would want to take it with. It opens up the whole worm again. I don't know who it is exactly, but I'd want to have some more durable, bankable guys who have done it more.
Right. Somebody you've seen take a few turns around being an ace.
Yeah. Like
pair him with Chase Burns.
Like taking Burns and Mizorowski together is a bad idea. Taking him with DeGrom.
Sounds fun, though.
It does sound really fun.
Let me give you some idea here, just for the type of pitcher that went around pick 130, which is what you were saying this year. Jack Flaherty, Carlos Rodon, Nick Pivetta, Sonny Gray, George Kirby.
I'll take Kirby over.
Well, no. I was giving you the type of pitcher. I think Kirby will go higher. That was the type of pitcher. So that was an injured Kirby, and then guys that were like good. But, Nick Pivetta, I think there's some comps there. Nick Pivetta, Chase Burns, in terms of just the raw upside, and is it going to happen this year? You still had to pay a pretty good price for it. It ended up working with Pivetta. I don't know if it's going to be their year one for Burns, though. So there's a risk reward that you have to be comfortable with, too, because the downside is just a full bust of a pick inside the top 150.
Yeah, I mean, he went ahead of Shota in this draft. I don't know that I could get behind that. I think Shota I would firmly be on. The fact that he went a couple rounds ahead of Mizorowski, I guess it's just where they were at the time.
It was a moment thing because well, I'm even trying to think. Mizorowski must have been at the downside of his value, because if it was in mid-August, there was that 6-inning, 10-strikeout trip to Pittsburgh that Burns had, so maybe it was right around there.
Mizorowski was getting lit up right around that time.
Right, so there you go, because there's no way, in my opinion, that we see Mizorowski with an ADP lower than Burns this year. Maybe in an individual draft, but no, not as an average draft spot. No shot.
Yeah, Burns should go behind him. I think what you guys said earlier, if you miss out on Mizorowski and still want that 30% strikeout rate upside, then you can take Burns a few rounds later. But I think the earliest I'd be willing to take him is probably around like at the absolute highest, probably pick 100, and even that feels maybe a little much, like 110, 120 maybe.
It's gonna be hard not to get drunk on the good starts in spring, but I think you're singing a little too high for me.
Yeah.
Interesting rotation that they're developing there with Green, Burns, Lodolo, and Abbott this year. I don't even think Abbott did he go in this thing. Let me see. I doubt it because he's kind of closed strong.
I don't think he did.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to bring up Abbott here. We could talk more pitchers next week because we didn't even do relief pitchers, and we got to do something on that. And I want to get us out at the hour. I'm actually going to go see some Banana Ball tonight. It's here in Texas, so it's not the actual Savannah Bananas. It's the Texas-based team facing the Party Animals. But my sister had somebody drop out, and look who gets to fill in, this nerd. So I got to get going anyway. But guys, thanks for suffering through me and being annoying. But get more consistent beliefs, and
We're
I
used
won't
to it.
expose y'all. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I love you guys a lot, and we'll talk next week.
That was a fun chat, guys. Look forward to doing it.
I hate you, Paul.
God damn it.